Ooh, yeah. Reborn Nation Church. Oh, yeah. It's the good God part. What you think? In the Reborn Nation Church. Ow! It's the good God pod. Anyway. Yay! Good God. So today we're going to be talking about hot-headedness.
Hard-headedness.
I don't know where I was going with that. I started to go Christopher Walken.
I thought you were going Christopher Walken.
So today, I'm hot-headed.
A little bit more
It's true. I don't know. Hot-headed. You. Terrible. I used to do it. The thing is, I used to do a decent Christopher Walken back in the day.
Now has Christopher walked out of your life?
Christopher has walked out.
Yes.
Christopher never was.
Oh, no.
But we were talking about last week about the breaking, about being hard-headed. And so I want to talk today about things that we endure that we don't have to, that we choose to because of our stubbornness or our refusal to be teachable, coachable, or submissive to the Lord. Yeah. And so I want to start with a story.
Oh, God.
It's a true story. And I got a picture. I'll send it to you so you can put it on the screen so people can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But this happened last year. I'm about to die laughing right now. So.
Is this the story I'm thinking of?
I don't know. Maybe. So last year, my dad is with me.
Yes, it is the story I'm thinking of. I'm so ready.
And I had to stop by the mailbox in our subdivision. And he was riding with me, and we went and did.
Hold on. You got to cool off.
Maybe it helps with telling the story. People can laugh with me. I don't know. But we go to get the mail and leave. We do. This guy across the street, this young man's with his friend, and he goes running up to the truck and says, "Excuse me."
Hold on. If you laugh any harder, the accent gonna be too heavy. Take a lap. Take a lap.
I'm about to pass out already. God. I shared this story in Israel and cried, telling it, and there was guys like, it's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. Please tell me again.
God.
I'm literally crying tears. I just felt a big tear falling in my shirt. He's like,
look at the tears in your eyes.
He said, "Excuse me, do you either one of you gentlemen have a plier we can hold? Pair of pliers we could use?" And my dad says, "What?" And I said, "Pliers? What for?" He goes, "My friend has a fish hook stuck in his leg. And we're trying to get it out. We need some pliers." To which I had a small pair of needle nose pliers. And this is all I got. I said, "Maybe you can, cut the hook, get to where it's sharp on the inside. When you go down far enough in those pliers, needle nose, you can get the sharp edges and cut." He says, "Okay." So now we're curious. So we go walking over there with him. And sure enough, man, his friend has a fish hook in his leg.
Good God.
And it's not just a hook. Had it been just a regular hook, you could snap it and, it's long enough you can find it and snap it and cut. This guy it was a bass lure. And so on the back of the lure and the front of the lure, it has two tri-hooks. Little smaller hooks, but they're tri-hooks. And one of these hooks is in his leg. And I'm thinking because you're going to need a tetanus shot more than likely. Yes. I said, "Hey, man, you sure you don't want to just go to the hospital?" And, you're going to, he's like, "No, I don't want to go to the hospital and do all that. It'll cost so much money and it'll take my whole Saturday. I can just take it out myself." Okay, cool. Hard-headedness, right? So his friend goes to try to take the hook deep enough into the needle nose pliers he can cut it, but he can't. It starts pulling that hook and that ain't working. And finally he says, hard-headed part 2, "Just yank it out, man." So me and my dad are sitting there and we're just looking like King of the Hill, in the back just watching, just, okay. And his friend takes the pliers and grabs that fish hook and yanks. And when he does, the hook comes out of his leg. It comes out.
Oh, look at that.
It does. But because of centripetal force and the fact that it's a two-headed animal, when he yanks hard on the other end, that the end that was lodged in the skin comes out, but then it flips. It whips, the other end almost whips in, and it catches him the other end of the lure. The other end catches him in the leg now. And it's kind of below his knee, almost in his shin. And he goes, oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Oh, my God. And me and my dad, literally, the first time it happens, at that moment, obviously right now, I fell to the ground laughing then. I took a knee, and I'm laughing at the guy because it's hilarious. And I'm like, just laughing. And he goes, oh, about that time, the boy with the hook looks at my dad and says, sir, can you try? Sir, could you please try to help? My dad says, you want me to do it? And he goes, yeah. He says, I don't want my friend touching me. He just got me hooked the second time. My dad says, oh, you ain't going to sue me now, all right? He goes, no, please, no, help me.
I can hear his voice.
So my dad takes it, and he grabs the pliers on the other end, and he yanks it out, and it comes out. But again, because of the nature, the top end whips around. It digs into his thigh. And he goes screaming, oh my God. He starts cussing, man. He's dropping F-bombs. He goes, I'm sorry. And I'm dying laughing, man. I'm dying laughing. And he goes, what do you think, sir? He looks at me now. I'm the only one you can trust. I was like, well, I mean, it's come out twice. We've got it out. So the problem is that other end is whipping around again. I said, if he can hold the other hooks when I go to yank it, we can get it out of you. Just I told his friends, I said, don't let go of that hook until the count of three when we yank. I mean, you can let go when I yank, but you got to wait. Okay. So his friend grabs the hook between just his index and thumb. And when I go to count to three, right before, you know how things happen. And if you were in slow motion, you control it. But you're in the process of moving, even though you see it, it's too late to stop. And so right when I say three and go to yank, his friend gets cold feet and let's go at that. And I'm like, oh no, but I'm already in the motion. Oh no. And I yank it up again. And this time, when I tell you I yanked, dude, it yanked, but because his friend had let go, it flips around a fourth time. Pow. And pops him and hooks him in his kneecap. And he starts, I don't know if you remember, on his Ventura when nature calls, it's in the bone. It's in the bone. He literally starts, oh my God, he's about to start crying. Blood is pouring down his leg.
God.
He looks like a stuck pig. And he's like, my God, I can feel it in my kneecap. I can feel it in the bone. And he goes, just stop. Just stop. Everybody stop. Please. We are I'm dying laughing. And about that time, he just says, I'm just going to go to the hospital. To which I'm dying. And I'm like, yeah. I looked at him, I said, dude, you should have went the first. You got to get a tetanus shot anyway. He goes, well, I thought we could get it out, but my God, y'all are killing me. And there's a picture you're throwing of him just pouring blood. I laughed till I cried. And y'all could be saying, Pastor Josh, that's so terrible. It's so horrible. How could you laugh at that young man's pain? First of all, when I say teenager, we're talking 18, 19, 20 years old, maybe 21. He's not 13.
Yeah.
Number two, the fact he's like, I ain't going. I'm going to sit there and I ain't. And the fact that we're trying to help him. And he was stuck once and he got stuck three more times. Fa-pow, fa-pow, fa-pow. And dude, it's just, you can't write it. You can't make it up. It was the funniest thing.
Oh God, I'm lightheaded.
And so none of it would have happened had he just not been so hard-headed. Had he just went to the hospital to begin with, they could have cut it, got it out. He wouldn't have had to endure all that pain. But now he had all this extra pain and trauma to his body and mind and even spirit that he had to deal with. Now, me, I'm kind of glad he did. I'm kind of glad he was hard-headed because now I've got a story the rest of my life that if I ever need to laugh, I'm ever having a down day, I can just recount and remember the day that the boy cried pliers. And that's hard-headedness for you.
And welcome to the Good God Pod.
Good God. So yeah, back I magically put on a hoodie. I don't know what that was.
What were either of these
I
magical
don't know what that
sounds?
is.
As you can tell, we don't do magic.
Gosh, man. But I figured it'd be cool if we each tell a story about how we were hard-headed, especially if it had to do with like a spiritual thing. So
Yes.
I told the first story. Do you want to tell yours? Or you want me to go first and give you time to think?
Go first. Give me a second.
All right. So this hard-headed stuff we're talking about last week, being teachable and how the Father breaks us and it's good for us and stuff like that. But I said also a statement that you really liked, by the way, when it said, how many times have we went through something that God never intended us to go through?
Yes.
How many? Like the children of Israel were supposed to go to the wilderness. They were supposed to see the fire by night and the cloud by day, but they were never meant to be there for 40 years.
Right.
Right. So a lot of times we have forced ourselves into a situation that God has to break us or get a hold of us. Well, mine was right before I came here. I'll never forget. I had been on Rising Star that had all passed. And so we were at a season where I was being interviewed by churches all over America. And I had really liked this place up in Illinois that we were at. So it was a mega church up there. And we had agreed in principle to what I was going to get paid. I was going to have an expense account, massive church, like 30,000 people.
Geez.
Huge, huge. But at the end of the day, in order for me to get on staff, I had to sign the statement of beliefs that I agreed with it. Well, part of the statement of beliefs there, and that's why I'm not even bringing up the name of the church or their initials or anything, was I had to sign a document that basically claimed that I was a cessationist. Ooh. That I didn't believe in miracle signs, wonders, and gifts. Now, can you imagine, especially what happened to my son in the last 2 weeks, how there was no way I was going to sign that. And even the executive guy's like, hey, man, you don't necessarily have to believe it, but you still got to just sign it. It's like you got to sign it. I'm like, well, why does it matter? If I don't have to believe it and I'm just signing it, then that means the integrity of this whole document is flawed.
Okay.
So it just became a thing where it's like, I don't want to be a part of this body, And so, and again, I still believe, looking back now, that I did the right thing by not going to the staff, right? But I had several opportunities where things just weren't there, right? Weren't lining up. And so it got to a point, though, that we were so broke financially. Now, a lot of people don't know part of this story. And I'll share it now. I'm not ashamed of it. God get the glory for this. But we were so broke, and so the season we were in was so difficult. I went from being on national TV and on a record label at Capitol Records, one of the biggest record labels in the world, to 6 months later being broke with no foreseeable future.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a job at Lowe's or Home Depot. I even tried to get a job in the kitchen cleaning at Olive Garden, bro.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. And I couldn't get a job nowhere. It was just crazy. I'm like, God, what's going on? And so this other church up in, I'm going to say this, where North meets South here on the eastern side of the United States. I don't even want to put a name on it. Of course, I don't think the church is even, I ain't going to say the name of the church. I'll just say there was a church in Virginia. Mm-hmm. And to tell you how bad it is, this place don't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
At the time, this was a church running over 650.
Wow.
And now they don't even exist anymore. That shows you how messed up some stuff was. But I went and, over the phone, everything was great. I went there and led worship, and it was great. And the Holy Spirit was moving, it was wonderful. But I stayed over on Monday just and I saw this staff meeting where this guy who was the pastor at the time, you talking about just poisonous and vicious and venomous. Dude, I just watched him lay into somebody. I'm like, that seems really over the top. Mm-hmm. But then he started kissing my butt at the end of it. Say, I don't have to, here's the backstory there. And I'm like, well, maybe I just didn't, I didn't see it right. Well, he agreed. We agreed on what he was going to pay me. He agreed on, my moving expenses because I'm having to move from South Florida up to Virginia. Dude, I was so uneasy when I got back to South Florida. I had no peace. Sometimes people think, well, if I don't have peace about it, that's one thing. But not only did I not have peace, I had turmoil in my spirit about this thing. And we were packing up, getting ready to leave. And I'll never forget, dude, like 2 nights before we were to head up to Virginia, I so knew that it was not God's will. And I'm sitting there in the garage down there and I'm crying, dude. I'm praying and crying. And my wife, First Lady Vanessa, comes out. She goes, "What's wrong?" And I just looked at her and I said, "We're not supposed to go there." She said, "What?" I said, "I know in my spirit, I'm telling you, we are not supposed to go there." And she said, "We don't have to. Why are we going then?" I was like, "We're not supposed to go, but honey, we don't have any other options. We have to go." How bad it was is she was having to be a bartender.
Wow.
There was a place in South Florida called the Panthers Ice Den. It's where the NHL back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, Florida Panthers, have their practice facility, and this also has other rinks open to the public. Well, they had this big bar. And the only job Vanessa could find herself at the time was a guy she went to school with was one of the big managers there, and he got her on as a bartender, dude. So talking about a pastor whose wife literally is a bartender to make ends meet.
Yeah.
So like we're not paying. We're living at my mother-in-law's house, mother-in-law's house. Van is behind, literally taking the tire off so they can't come and repossess it and pull it out. But we're just trying to have cell phones and just survive, and she's bartending to make that happen. And so people say, "I can't believe y'all did that." Well, until you walk that path, it taught me that sometimes people are a victim of circumstances, and sometimes people don't want to do the things that they're doing. Now she wasn't getting drunk or sinning; she was just, and it wasn't the type of thing that served hard liquor and whiskey. It was beer and wine, stuff, that kind of thing. But dude, I knew. She said, "Why are we going?" I said, "We are not supposed to be there." But I just don't. I feel like we're out of options. We don't have any other choice. We got to go. So we went up there, dude, and me knowing the whole time, not only do I not have peace, there's turmoil in my spirit that I'm not supposed to be there. The moment we get there, it's a big crapshoot. They don't want to give me the money to cover my moving expenses like they said they would. So I have spent $3,000 to get up there in gas and U-Haul and everything else. They're not wanting to reimburse me. My first paycheck comes in, it's 70% of what they said that I was going to get. They said I was going to get health insurance benefits. None of that is existing that we agreed to. It is a struggle. The moment I get there, I'm treated like I'm a criminal for asking, "Hey, because again, we had no working forever. So every bit of savings we had went into getting up there with that $3,000. Instead of saying, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, we said that. We'll get it. We just ain't, it's for Friday. Here, take the church card and just buy some groceries and whatever that is, we'll deduce it from the moving expenses." It was, "Well, what do you need? How much do you need to get by with? Like, what do you need? We'll give you the card, but how much do you need? What do you need to get by with?" Like,
wow.
Like just that kind of thing. I'm like, what? Hold up a minute. Wait a minute. Dude, so we're there. It's crazy like that. They changed my entire jobs and responsibilities once I get there. Looking back now, I firmly believe that the guy knew I was talented and he was trying to cripple me when I got there.
Yeah.
So I would just kind of be his puppet,
Yeah.
There was so much toxicity in that staff, in that church. There? I was there less than 3 months.
Okay.
I had been there for about 2 months when this guy stood up on a Sunday morning now behind the pulpit and dropped 2 GDs.
Whoa.
Took God's name in vain.
Whoa.
And I went, "Okay, I'm out."
Yeah, no.
I'm
absolutely.
out. I'm out. It was just awful. And so whenever we went to leave, I had to go pack up my office at midnight the night before. Because I had my key. I had to go at midnight to pack up my office so they wouldn't try to stop me or whatever. Because they owed me money. And so I was going to get paid and then split because I'd already kind of told them. And they owed me several $1,000s that they never gave me on the front end. So, dude, I went and packed that night. Went and packed the house the next day. Went up there. I said, "I'm out." "What do you mean you're out?" "I'm leaving." "No, you're not leaving." I said, "Yeah, I am. I'm out. This is crazy. I'm not working like this." "You can't do that." I was like, "Yeah, I can. You lied about this and that." Dude's wife stands in front of me, between me and the door, and says, "You're not leaving." And I said, I ain't gonna say her name. I said, "Ma'am, either you get out of my way or I'm going to physically move you out of my way." That's how toxic they were, bro.
Jeez.
I'm sitting there saying, "I'm leaving. I don't want to be here." And they're like, "No, you're staying here." I mean, that's how crazy it was. So I dropped the keys and we left. And it was only about a month from that point to us coming here in Savannah.
Wow.
God knew the whole time we were coming to Savannah.
Yeah.
Remember talking about going up and over and climbing a mountain if you
And
just
then
had you
come
just
at-
waited and been straight. So literally my hard-headedness, my stubbornness, I went through an ordeal that God never meant for me to go through. I went through that's the first time I ever had an anxiety attack
Yes, sir.
in my life was
Yes, sir.
leaving that place. And oh God, what are we going to do? I've exhausted everything. I had to pull over the vehicle. First time ever in my life I had an anxiety attack. And I was never meant to endure any of it. I was never supposed to experience any of that. But none of that was God's will for me. Now God made a way out. I was able to survive it, thank God. But God had never intended me. He had warned me. He had given me the opposite of peace. He had basically, his Holy Spirit was telling me, do not go, do not go, do not go. And my hard-headed behind went anyway because I couldn't trust God for 3 more months.
Wow.
And so I went through all that crap, literally like our friend with the fish hook. I come out of that thing bloody, beaten, and bruised from a beat down that I never was supposed to take.
And so it wasn't long after that that you called me, which for me was out of the blue, because I don't know how many people remember this, or we said this in the last podcast, I think, that you were my youth pastor back in my hometown for a total of like 9 months.
Yeah, less than a year.
Like less than a year, but God had grew this relationship in such a way that it would come back to fruition later. Of course, I don't think either one of us thought that. I certainly didn't at 17 think that at all. But I had gone to Milledgeville to school and was over there. And after my first year of college, I remember sitting on my porch of my apartment in Milledgeville watching the leaves turn. I was so excited. It was a beautiful fall morning. I had the day off from Chili's. I was excited. And then you called me and basically said, "Hey, I know it's been a while. I've been on the road. I've done this, done that, and done that. But I'm in Savannah now." And he said, "This is odd, but I really feel like the relationships that God bore in Soperton are supposed to be here. And I think the things that God has for me here, I've had this vision card. It's wild, it's crazy, but I think you're supposed to be a part of it." And I straight up was like, no, because all I'm thinking again is I have everything I need right now. Because, and this could be a multifaceted story for me, moment story for me. My biggest thing that I always used to struggle with was I got content really fast. I get content really fast. I guess it can be a good feat. I adjust really quickly, but in that adjustment, I get content really quickly. And I don't want to move from that. I'm not a person of innovation. I like to think of you as one. You ready to move to the next thing, ready to go to the next thing. But Jakari McCoy Miller, whole government name. I'm not that person originally. I'm not that person naturally. He's grown that in me, but I was not that person naturally. I was very content in where I'm at. So as I'm listening to you talk about it, you're going, "Yeah, I really feel like you're supposed to be here and a part of it." And I'm like, no,
I'm good.
no,
Here.
I'm good. Like I got a pretty good thing going on with Chili's. I got a pretty good thing going on with baby
back ribs.
These visuals old.
Barbecue sauce.
I'm thinking about going to school, graduating from my 2-year university at GMC and going over to the GCSU, doing all these things. I've made all these plans. I made all my plans on what I'm supposed to do, and basically, I basically tell you no, and then you hit me with those dangerous words. He said, "Well, here, how about we pray about it?" And then he proceeds to pray, "Lord, if it's for him, which I believe it is, go ahead and make a way, God, for him to come here." I'm like, this joker is praying my way over there. Stop. What are you doing?
But to be fair, you've seen this too. I've never I don't pray like that over people.
Yeah, not often.
It was not a God supposed you're supposed to be here. You need to come here. And there's some churches that will do that. There are some churches that if you have any kind of decency in how you look,
Yes.
dress, or talent level, they will prophesy you into their fold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Reborn Nation's not one of those churches.
Not at all.
But in that moment, I just knew in prayer, I just knew what I knew was that Kari's supposed to be here.
And so you take this 19-year-old at the time. I was 19, and I have no special skills. I'm flipping burgers, bro. Flipping steaks at Chili's, putting salt and pepper on it. That's all they put on it.
Some people would argue that that's a very, very good talent.
Well, you know, if you
throw something down,
feel like your steak. But when it comes to ministry stuff, I have none. To my knowledge, I have none. And so what I assume is that God had divinely given you an outlook that I didn't have of myself because I was content with where I was. And so that contentment would go on to be most of my spiritual struggle up until now. That contentment bore, which, by the way, let me backtrack. God says a couple months after that, no, you're going to Savannah. And I go, well, God, if I'm gonna go all the way to freaking Savannah, I say this jokingly in prayer, I need to finish school, I need a place to stay, and I need a job. Like, I can't just go over there with nothing. It wasn't 3 months. Like, I came here for a visit to come to a wedding at your church with some mutual friends. And literally before I leave the wedding, I had a place to stay. I had a job. And then when I got back to town, I had a acceptance letter to Armstrong State University. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to Savannah. But I struggled a lot with adjusting to the call of God. I think I can say this. I never really understood at the time what he needed from me specifically, because again, I didn't see myself as any use in that department. What I did what I did know is that my work ethic was really high. And so I value my work ethic a lot. So even though I'm coming here and I'm supposed to be doing this youth pastor thing and doing these other calls and preaching and stuff, I saw it as work and I wanted him to be proud of my work. I never really understood the heart behind it. I never understood him as father either. So I came to a place of understanding Lord and Savior. I didn't really get father for years. I didn't get that. And there were many times where he prompted me as father, but I didn't understand how to take that. And I didn't understand how to take that love. And so that in itself made a lot of issues with my spiritual walk. That made a lot of issues with spiritual rebellion of sorts, of like, I'm not finna, like I can pray, but I don't pray like I pray now.
Right.
I can read, but I don't read like I read now. I can hear him say, go do this, go do that, but I don't have the urgency that I have now. And so what ended up happening is God in my hard-headedness has to throw me in stuff because I won't do it by myself.
Right.
He has to throw me into things or else I won't do it by myself. So I'm here, I'm at Armstrong. Again, I've become content. I've adjusted to being here, being with you guys, being with the church, and I've become content with whatever things that you guys have me doing. I'm in school, I'm at work, and we are mobile as a church, and we're in the theater. We had just sat in July in the hot tub, talking about how we were going to keep the status quo of being in the theater for another year to 2 years. And I've become content with that as well. I think we all were a little content with that because we thought that was the plan of God at that time. Of course, you knew some other factors that I didn't know at the time, but I just, again, not paying attention because I'm content. And so that week, I go to Alabama to do a audition, which would be a great audition for my very short college career in theater. To which I was able to travel a lot, do a lot of great things, have a lot of great lead roles, win some scholarships. I mean, God was really blessing me in that. So I'm thinking this is my life. I'm gonna try to find some duality here between this and ministry. Don't know how the heck I'm gonna do that, but again, I don't have the Father's heart yet, so I don't understand that it takes a lot more than you think. And so I go and do this, and PJ, the entire time that we're driving to Alabama, I feel this pit in my stomach. I feel this pit, this growing thing in my heart, and I'm going, something's wrong, something's off. I can't call it, and I'm constantly asking him, God, what are you doing? Because I feel what someone called the winds of change, and I'm going, no, no, no. I'm content. I'm good where I'm at. And so I spent a couple of days there, and every day I'm waking up and I feel that, like you said, that turmoil more and more and more every day. And I'm crying my eyes out because I don't understand why you're changing stuff. God, clearly you've blessed me in this. Look at all the things that I've been able to do through this venue of my life. Why are you changing it now? It's not that I ever denied you in any of these things. Even in a play, I did a play as unto the Lord. I would stand and pray on the stage beforehand. Like I didn't take you out of it. I don't understand. Like, yeah, I'm thinking I'm in rebellion and somehow, and I don't know what's going on. And so I take a walk one morning by myself or with a couple of friends. We take a walk downtown Mobile, and I see this Catholic church, and the doors are wide open. And it's beautiful marble. So I'm just thinking I'll go in and look at it. When I go in, and this is gonna mess up some folks' theology. When I go inside of the Catholic church, they have it open because people are coming in to just pray, do their adoration time, I believe. And when I walk in, I'm hit with the Holy Spirit. And my first response was, Holy Spirit, what are you doing here? Why are you here? This is a Catholic church. What are you doing at this Catholic church? You shouldn't be here. To which he responds, don't tell me where I get to be. And that taught me to stop deciding myself who was heavenly and who was of God and who was. So I think that's a whole podcast by itself, a whole different podcast.
Well, it could have been that God saw that you're about to go so far that you wouldn't be willing to let go later. Some of those things, I'm convinced that's why God didn't let me experience the music world and Hollywood and all that stuff when I was younger. I think God knew that 21-year-old Josh Peavy was a lot different than 28-year-old Josh Peavy.
Yes.
And 21-year-old Josh Peavy wasn't married and didn't have children.
Yeah.
And so I think the Lord knew what he was doing. Same thing there. Like if you get far enough in it, you're never going to want to come out. And it's not that what he does. It's not that what he has isn't greater, but it's just number one, like you said, your ability or your nature at that time is to be content real quick.
Yeah.
Well, how much more difficult is it to break away when that contentment is successful and good and
Yeah. So he pulls me out of it. I go back to I sit there and I pray in that church, and I go, okay, God, I'm gonna do the very best I can, and if I get nothing, I know you're changing something. If I get something, then cool, it is what it is. I go back, I do my audition, it goes through. 10 minutes later, we go to callbacks, 0. And when I didn't see my name on any board, I went, okay, and peace just hit me when I got back to town. I woke up that next morning, you called me again and said, Jakari, meet me at that building on Highway 17. I think God just gave us the building. And so within 2 weeks, it's no longer Jakari, it's Pastor Jakari.
Well, I consider you to be a prophet. So, yeah, that hard-headedness, I'm back, we're good. But we were talking about your whole journey of being content and how God moved and navigated. I talked about Virginia and all this good stuff. Yeah. there was a chance. We didn't have to come into this building 7 years ago.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There was a chance we could have stayed where we were, but I don't think we'd be where we are right now.
Yeah.
And so again, a bad decision there keeps us in the wilderness. We may not have a building by now. We could be 7 years still doing loading and unloading, dude, at the theater.
My God.
Can you imagine?
I cannot.
I mean, the only other thing is, what if we made the wrong decision coming here in the theater? We could have bought it by now if we backed it. I'm kidding. Everybody would have the seats that raise your legs and lean back. Y'all be sleeping while we preached.
Everybody thoroughly enjoyed that. That was the only gripe that I got once we got here. And they were like, we missed the theater
I miss
seats.
being able to lean back when y'all are preaching or singing. I can just lean back. That was, logistically with the kids and all, it was a nightmare. But now I ain't gonna lie to you. If every one of our chairs was cushiony and you could, dude, we'd never get people to stand up and worship.
No.
They'd be sitting, amen, woo.
Fat Joe trying to lean back, bro.
They'd be leaning back. Yeah. Oh gosh, no, it's every one of our lives. What I preached on Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Staying prayed up and connected to the Lord. This is what keeps us from continuing making those mistakes and dwelling in the wilderness longer than we should, taking the wrong directions and going the wrong way other than we should. And the thing is, it's possible to stay in alignment with God. If it weren't possible, what's the point?
Yes.
But going back to Joshua and Caleb, they sent out the spies to scope out the promised land. Joshua and Caleb come back and say, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. And we know that is the reason why Joshua and Caleb don't die in the wilderness, and God honors their faith and they actually get to go in the promised land. Yeah. But the other 10 lead the whole people in fear, and they dwell in the wilderness for 40 years, a time span that God never, ever intended for them to be there. And it leads to destruction, it leads to death, and God honors those that have faith and they get to the promised land. And so it's possible for us to stay connected to the Lord and stay connected through prayer. Again, when we teach IDT, we teach people you can actually learn to hear the voice of God. And that's not anti-biblical, that's biblical.
Yeah. That's
biblical principles. Prayer, we can actually talk to God. Oh, wow. And you can tune your ear to hear the voice of God the more you talk to him and the more you pray. But you can absolutely get to a point where you can have confidence and not continually live in these patterns. Going back to me almost leaving the church.
Yeah.
A year ago, this time, I wasn't sure what my future would be here.
Yes.
My flesh said, God's done with me here. It's time to move on. And there were some outside sources pushing that point as well. Excuse me. And it's only through praying and trusting God, I never had peace to go.
Yeah.
I just didn't have peace. And so I heard God's voice, don't go. I'm not done yet. Look what we'd missed this year.
Yes.
Had I not been connected. And somebody wrote in some stupid thing. It's all about self, from Sunday, some idiot from the past. When I say this to you, I'm not harping on myself and lifting myself up to say, oh, I'm so close to God that I hear God and I never make mistakes. What I'm telling you is, as a minister called and anointed and appointed by God to pastor this church, if you will continue to pray and be in be in alignment with the Spirit of God, he absolutely will speak to you and you'll hear his voice, and it will keep you from making that mistake. Look what we'd have missed had I not listened to the voice of God, and I would have plunged myself into another wilderness. I absolutely was a month away from plunging myself into another Virginia situation. That's how important it is. That's how important it is and how big it is to make sure that you're hearing God. You're one decision away from a bad job and career move. You're one decision away from a bad love interest.
Yes.
You're one decision away from a bad investment or a bad purchase. You're one decision away from getting out of God's will spiritually. We have to stay connected to the Lord and stay rooted in his word and grounded in prayer so we can be led of him, not to be hard-headed and get ourselves in situations where we need God to miraculously show up and get us out and reroute our trajectory again.
When people hear, incidentally, don't be jarred by my different appearance. We had a different recording session, but
I Since you brought it up,
Yeah, you want the same thing to keep.
I literally put on the same clothes from yesterday. We're filming on a different day. So you did that. I put on the same clothes from yesterday, even though I wasn't wearing them this morning because I wanted to have that continuity. And you had told me that, and you gonna show up
I broke the mold.
in different clothes. I could have put on my original clothes.
It's not that I was confused whenever he left from our earlier meeting. But whenever
Shame.
whenever
Boo this man.
whenever we hear whenever we use it rhetorically, the lean not on your own understanding, I think somehow we have turned that into, let me write down everything that I'm going to do, create everything I want to do, and then I'm going to take it and say, all right, God, how you going to make this happen? Versus him saying, here's what you're going to do. Follow my instruction, follow my wisdom, follow my knowledge, follow my wisdom, and I will make your path straight. We do it in reverse. Let me make the path and then take it to you and say, God, how are you going to bless this? Because I've already made the plan. You just, all I need is your stamp of approval. I just need you to sign off on it.
Dude, you just, I think you could make that statement a dozen different times. Slowly make that statement and preach a whole sermon just off that statement. I mean, you just preach the sermon. People don't say what you said again. Instead of leaning on God's understanding and let him make the path, you said, go ahead, say it again. That's just
so instead of letting him do as he does, as the author and the finisher of our faith, as the lead and guide and Lord of our life, what we'll do is we'll make the plans, we'll package it up, we'll write down the bullet points, we'll make the list, we'll make the future, we'll make all the decisions, and then package it, send it to him, put it on his desk, and just say, hey, I just need your stamp. Yeah. I just need your signature. Can you just go ahead and fund this, please?
Dude, you just named 90% of the American church.
Jesus.
I think you just called out 90% of ministers.
Oh, wow.
Again,
yes, sir.
Last podcast we talked about the mountain going up and having to come down, the work of that, when if you had just waited, God would have flattened it. We look and we don't like the look of the mountain. And instead of waiting on God to flatten it, we're going to choose a different mountain. And then when we get to the top of it, say, okay, God, I'm here. When are you going to flatten this thing?
Yeah.
And God's like, that one's flat.
Yeah.
I'm not. And you want me to. And sometimes by his mercy and grace, he may respond and do a miracle. Because he is gracious and he is forgiving. But then, even in that, it's not the same mountain that he had intended to flatten. And so the results aren't the same. And then we blame God. Mm-hmm. We point the finger, oh God, I prayed and I was faithful. Yeah, you were faithful in everything except following me to begin with. Mm-hmm. It's easy to be faithful guys, it's so easy to pray and be faithful and be ready to do what God tells you to do after you've already screwed up and you find yourself in prison.
Yeah.
It's nothing more than jailhouse religion minus the jailhouse.
Yeah.
Since I've done it my way yet again, and I'm in this place, oh God, now I'm ready to listen and I'll do whatever you tell me. You weren't supposed to be there to begin with. And so when God moves, instead of us saying, oh God, I'm just so grateful to have survived because of your provision, it's, why didn't you do more? Oh, why didn't this happen? Why didn't it's spoiled child syndrome, man.
Absolutely.
And it shows, we've been to India, bro.
Yeah.
We've seen what believers have to live with in our American mindsets. How faithful, let's just imagine there's a collapse in society or whatever tomorrow in the United States of America. How faithful, let's say on a Sunday morning, let's say there's everybody included 350 people. How many of those 350 do you see remaining faithful to the Lord within a 6-month span?
Not
having to live like in India.
Yeah. I put it like this. Whenever we came back from India, and people will hit me with problems, I would look at them dead in their face and say, "You ain't got no problems. Your problems are nothing,
Yeah.
minuscule." Not saying that we don't have real things. You're not having real emotion. No, I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying I have seen the face of believers who still, but until you are a fingers and toes missing leper who has to hobble to the nearest church house to come and worship God, and you still believing and you're living on the streets anyway, and the best thing you've had this week is the local church has brought you a banana and some bread and some eggs, and you're still believing in Christ for that. Until you had that week,
Yeah. So my question is, how many out of 350? Just you know the American mind. Just help our people understand here how we've been so blessed that we are so skewed and don't see it.
less than 10%.
Less than 10%. I'm with you. I'd say at most 20%, but I think it'd be around 10%. That's how shallow our faith is, because we just couldn't. If all of a sudden we didn't have the luxury we have now, we would think God was allowing us to be cursed and broken, and God's not faithful. He's turned his back, or he's not real.
Yes. Yep.
That shows you how tied we are to commercialism and materialism. We judge God's provision, activity, and grace based on our desires.
But Pastor Josh,
That's how backwards we are.
he doesn't he want to take care of his people? Doesn't he meet the needs of his people?
He does. But meeting your needs is not meeting your wants. And even a car is a luxury. Well, in today's world, you got to have a car. They don't in India.
No.
Right now, have you heard of CAT? It's called the Chatham Area Transit.
Yep.
There's people ride buses still.
Yes.
You don't have to have a car. You could ride a bus. But our faithfulness to God would be so. We'd become drunks.
Mm-hmm.
Getting just stone-faced drunk every night in depression. I can't believe I lost my house. I lost my car. Oh, God. Oh. Well, if your faith was truly the kind of faith that my name's written in the Lamb's Book of Life, it wouldn't matter if you lost everything.
Yeah.
But we would, dude, we just took a turn on this thing.
Bunch of sermons going on.
We just took a turn in this thing.
Yeah.
The wilderness that we don't have to, that we put ourselves in. Buddy, what we just said, honestly, we should be grateful for the wilderness, because our wilderness is so much better than everybody else's garden.
Yeah. Ooh, boy. Ooh.
Huh?
Ooh, wait a minute.
Not grateful for your garden. What you consider a wilderness, someone else would love to be in that garden that you call a trash heap.
Come into a 2-week series near you somewhere.
Oh man, I'm serious. It's Christmas season. And Thanksgiving. We could talk about.
We could
thankful for the garden.
Yeah.
Because ain't that how we are, church? Those watching this, Americans watching right now, isn't that how we are? Mm-hmm. We could have a garden that grows the most beautiful, delicious apples. Yeah. But you get tired of apples. How come my garden don't have peaches like his garden? How come then you get the peaches? How come I don't have the banana like this one? How come I don't have the It's the American way. You remember there's a line in the movie The Other Guys. I love Will Ferrell. I'm sorry, I do. Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg. I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly. Did that end the way you thought it was going to? Nope. Didn't think so. In The Other Guys, they're talking about, and again, I believe in capitalism. I believe it's the best way to run a government, but we're not talking about governance. But let's just say this. Americans, we are so blessed, and we have supersized, big this. The guy is talking at this money investors thing. He goes, I believe in excess, celebrate excess. He says, go to Wendy's and get a Baconator with extra bacon. Is that not the American way? Is that not? I want the best that I want it all. Queen sang a song, I want it all, I want it all, I want it all, I want it now. J.G. Earth. Yep. It's your money, get it when you want it. Get it when you want it. It's my money and I want it now. That's the American way. Yep. We're not satisfied. We can't be. We're like Hamilton. You will never be satisfied.
How can I put a counter up for how many references you made in a minute?
I am a wealth of useless knowledge. And I'd be really cool right now to people who love musicals, movies, or music. I've just named 3 great ones.
Yes.
Pop, pop, pop,
Yeah.
I used to want to be on a show. Me and my dad and brother, we felt like we could win it. Like
Yeah.
this show of, anyway, the general knowledge shows that you have. But that's the American way, man.
Yeah.
It's we're happy until we're not.
Mm-hmm.
And the status quo doesn't change. What made us happy, and now it just don't make us happy anymore.
Yeah.
That's why divorce rates are so high. I was in love, but I'm not in love anymore.
Yeah.
That's why people change churches. I was happy at this church, I'm not happy at this church anymore. That's why I loved my job, now I hate my job. And the thing is, 9 times out of 10, nothing changed.
Yeah.
Nothing changed in what they used to love, and now they can't stand it. What was the palace has become a prison, and nothing has changed except they've gotten used to it, and they're bored, and we're jumpy, and we're bored, and we won't change, and we need it. And here's the thing: that's the enemy of even our salvation and Christian faith. It's the enemy of being steadfast and faithful in the few things. Little is much when God is in it. We would never be David because we would have been about cussed. I about dropped the word because we'd be blinking and moaning in the shepherd field saying, God, why am I still here watching these blinking sheep?
Yeah.
That's what we'd be doing.
You told me I was king.
You told me I was going to be, you anointed me king, and here I am watching these stupid sheep. Why am I still here? We'd have never been David. We couldn't sit there and say, oh God, while I'm here, let me write these songs to you. Oh God, while I'm here, let me develop my trust and relationship with you. No, we'd be saying, why am I still here?
Yeah.
That's what we'd be. Man, I'm so mad at American church right now. I don't even want to talk to y'all no more. I don't even like y'all right now.
I want to bring back what I started with at the beginning of this. Y'all got to look at this. Look at that. Look how upset American church you have made.
I'm a good man, and I try. And just thinking about y'all right now and how you act, I just
backwards. Yo,
it's a miracle. We're gonna be saints when we get to heaven. I was gonna say,
God,
brothers, young men that I called in the 21st century, the sheep that y'all had to work with. My God, y'all are saints.
Full of themselves, hot air, no knowledge. At the start of this, I talked about contentment being the enemy of my faith. And what God will do, and what God will do for many of us, is a lot of that, a lot of those things in which you find yourself struggling with spiritually, He will then turn it around and use it, yes, for His good. Because then what happened is He took what was originally a trait of mine that was destroying me, He purified it and made it about Him.
Yes, contentment in Him is great.
And now my contentment is within Him. And what's happening, like if you go to the ocean and you'll see one of those posts that'll normally have a sign, not the buoy, but the post that'll have a sign or something there, that'll have a light or something there, that way that they know that they can't cross this line, ships and things can't cross this line. You'll be too close to the shore. When those waves and the tide rises, it keeps crashing. Everything keeps moving. Sometimes those waves are above that post.
Yeah.
But when the tide goes back down and the waves go back, that post is still there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where now, again, this is not a self-boast. This is what He's had to beat into me over time as I have found myself becoming more steadfast in my faith. The seasons change, the waves rise, but my faith in Him, things can keep changing, things can keep moving. I'm still content with who He is.
Right.
My contentment with Him has now become the basis of a lot of my faith.
It's contentment with Him. It's true relationship with Him.
Yes.
Contentment in our marriages keeps us from being unfaithful. It keeps us.
Yeah.
But again, when the relationship's all about you,
yes,
you're not going to be content.
Mm-hmm.
Because a real relationship is not about, it's never take. It's give and take. It's compromise. It's experiential. And we're so good at being takers, man. Just like with churches, we're commercial shoppers. Who has the best children's program? Who has the best this program? Who has the best that? I want to go. Yes. Where can I go and get all that I want without any commitment or giving whatsoever?
That is the biggest question.
We're takers.
Mm-hmm.
We preach that.
Yeah.
Was it last year or this year? We preached a message together on the consumers versus contributors.
Contributors. Yep. It was last year.
Go back and watch that. If you hadn't seen it, go back and just go to our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And go to our videos and look up consumers versus contributors and watch that message.
Yeah.
We did it together. It was really good. But that's where we are. We're takers. We do. We want something for nothing.
Yeah.
Some of us vote because of that in
Mm.
certain ways. I want to work from home so nobody can watch me work. Why is the whole argument about working from home? You want to know why people? I'm gonna be a realist with you. This is not being cynical. This is a realist. You want to know why Americans wanted to work from home and why they enjoyed it COVID? Because you were getting paid for 40 hours and you were working 20.
Yep.
And going back to work means I'm gonna be held accountable and have to actually do what I'm getting paid to do.
Accountability.
That's the problem.
Yep.
And that's who we are, man. And God is like, God loves you behind enough. He will make you accountable.
Mhm.
Either you will become accountable and let God move in your life and you become what God had desired and planned. And here's the thing, it's always greater than what you ever thought of to begin with. But either you will be obedient and let God lead you and shape you and mold you and guide you, or you will leave the faith.
Yeah.
Because there is no middle ground.
There isn't.
Depart from me, you workers of iniquity and lawlessness.
Mm-hmm.
Those without law. Here's a paraphrase. Depart from me, you sinners and those without accountability.
Yeah.
Look it up. Those are synonyms. Depart from me, you workers of iniquity and lawlessness, for I never knew you.
Yeah.
To the ones that get in, ready? Well done.
Yeah.
My good and faithful servant. Enter into rest.
Yeah.
Why? Because they were working and growing and doing on this side of eternity.
Yeah.
Those without accountability who did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Those with accountability who did and performed. Pastor, we're not saved by performance. No, but faith without performance is dead.
Yeah.
Faith without transformation. Faith without fruit being produced. Faith without service. Faith without tithing. Faith without giving. Faith without attending. Faith without praying. Faith without reading. Faith without fasting is a dead faith, and it ain't going to count.
And people will see. This really
That's hard line. Y'all better be glad we laughed a minute ago. We're back at it.
That people will see, like those believers. They will say, but we did all of this.
I went to church.
Didn't we do all of this in your name? Didn't we? And the things that didn't we cast out devils? Didn't we see? If you think God is still not going to care about the soul that's in your path, you ain't read, you ain't fasted, you slept with somebody last night, but you got up the next morning, met with somebody at a gas station. They met in your path. They needed deliverance. Deliverance happens, and you think, "Oh, I must be so." It was never about you.
Right.
It was he still wants that soul saved, but it ain't got nothing to do with you as a vessel.
See, now you're talking about feelings. I feel good about myself, and I felt God's presence, so that's the sign that I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
It's relationship. Here's the thing. Tell you how this thing works sometimes. It's funny. I've been on my way home thinking about, man, my wife's gonna be so happy to see me because I called her today, or I picked up dinner or whatever. And I get home and she's upset. Like what? And she points and looks and over where my area is just trashed. Like, but babe, I called you and said I love you today. I called out the blue and said, hey, I love you. She's like, yeah, but if you love me, why am I constantly having to come home to this garbage? Ding, 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 ding. Right? Obedience is better than sacrifice. That's Bible, by the way. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So, again, what is all this going back to? The hard-headedness of us.
Yes.
The hard-headedness and lack of self-awareness.
Yes.
Lack of self-awareness. Self-awareness is not measuring yourself to everybody else and say, well, at least I'm not doing this or I'm doing better than this. That's not self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Self-awareness is, I went to church this week. I love the Lord. I do. I have not cracked open my Bible in 4 days.
Yeah.
I've not sought God's face in prayer since Sunday.
Yeah.
Lord, forgive me. Lord, let me come and fellowship with you and begin to pray and seek God's face. Awareness. I go to church. I don't serve. There's people that come to this church. The once a monthers, they're the ones that are more like this. They come to church once a month, and man, that's it. That's the extent of it. They don't tithe. They don't give. They don't serve. They don't witness to anybody. They don't do anything other than come to church once a month or once every 6 weeks, and that is the extent. That is all they have in contact with the Lord. None in between. Once a month, once every 6 weeks, come to church, hear a 30 to 45-minute word, and chances are they probably don't know half the songs. They don't listen to worship music anyway.
Yeah.
And I feel good about myself. I've done good today, and I can go live my life with zero change, zero implications. That's the American church. Guys, don't be hard-headed.
Yeah.
Grow in your walk with the Lord. Laugh at this podcast. Be convicted by this podcast.
For sure.
Here's the good part. If you want to have a really, interesting conversation, check this out. Tag someone and say, this podcast made me think of you. And that will be the most interesting Thanksgiving conversation you have ever had, man. If you want to be real, if you want to have a cool experiment, tag someone and say, hey, I felt like you could hear this. And then let us know how that went.
Strong rebukes over turkey dressing. Hold on, you ready? Do it. 1, 2, 3.
Strong rebuke.
You like that?
I like that.
A little bit of effects, but yeah. End all be all. Will you be ready when the master returns? Will you be ready?
There's no getting ready. There's staying ready.
Staying ready.
They're staying ready. Keep an oil in your lamp, babe. Keep your oil in your lamp. And the oil is synonymous. It's symbolic for spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep oil in your lamp. You got to stay connected to God. You got to stay connected to God. So don't be hard-headed. Love God, love people. And we love you because, listen, correction's a lot of love.
Yes.
And we've laughed some too. You know what I mean? We've had some good moments. I refuse to just be, coming for your throat nonstop, right? And again, y'all say, Pastor, why are you hard? The Lord is hard on me all the time.
Learn from our mistakes for the love of God.
Now, again, I think the Lord's harder on me than most and on you too, because we're responsible for people's souls.
Yes.
And if you don't think there is a difference in that, submit those over to the Lord and pray for them before they have to give an account for your soul.
Yeah.
I have to give an account to God for how I pastor people and love people. So understand, and I'm grateful He does. God, I guarantee you, God is a little bit harder on us than He is the layman. Yeah. And we all are ministers, I get that, but to have a calling that I'm responsible for people's spiritual lives, the Lord's a little more corrective to us, and I think He is the common person, but that's a good thing. I'm not mad at Him for it. I love Him for it. Yes. It's wonderful. You should try it. You should try it. Did that go the way you thought it would? Didn't think so.
Go tell somebody about Jesus. Go to church on Sunday. We start at 11 a.m. here at Reborn Nation Church. We hope to see you there. This has been the Good God Pod.
Good God Pod.
Yeah.
The Good God Pod. Go watch the other guys.
Eat fish.
Go watch the other guys, or House of David, or The Chosen. Go listen to Three Dog Night, Shambhala. Go listen to
Expand Your Horizon.
The Lido Shuffle by Boz Scaggs. Awesome. And then listen to some worship music, obviously. There's a new song called Never Bow by Red Worship. Highly, highly suggest you.
Pretty good.
By the time this comes out, we will have sung it on Sunday.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Never bow.
Never bow.
Peace.
Peace.